Hey everybody, this is Sue Craig, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Cleveland, Ohio. And today I have a card for you called the Wax Paper Resist Technique. I'm going to show you how to use wax paper to make these impressions and then add ink to it. We're going to be using an embossing folder, and the one we're going to be using is the sunflower, the 3D sunflower embossing folder. And I wanted to show you that on this card I used one color, but when you do this technique, it doesn't have to just be one color. Here's another one that I did with several colors. And you can see that it looks very pretty no matter what you do to it. It's the same embossing folder, I just used different colors. So let me show you what we're going to use to make this card. I love doing techniques. We're going to use prairie grass for the front of the card and also for the envelope. For the sentiment, we're going to be making a sympathy card, and so we're going to be using the stamp set The Right Words. This one is from the annual catalog, and the prairie grass is from the online exclusives. So let's see what we have in here. Okay, in my envelope I have a piece of white cardstock that is the base, 5.5 inches by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have 2 tags, and the tags are from, what are they from? They're from the Labeled with Love punch. I punched both of them. One in white, one in black. I have a piece of glossy cardstock which is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. I have a piece of black cardstock. I'm using this to cover the front of my card. And if you find that you have your colored cardstock is a little more expensive than the white, you can use it as something that looks like your card base, but it's not using all of the amount of paper that you would for a card base. So I like to use it just like this. Okay, so here's the cool piece that we're going to need. This is glossy cardstock, and what I have done is I have taken a piece of wax paper and run it through my embossing folder, and you can see it's the sunflower. This has wax on it, and it also has the impression made with that embossing folder. You can use any embossing folder you'd like. What I'm going to do then is to put this down on top of the piece of glossy cardstock that was in my envelope. I'm also going to take another piece, and this one is a little bit larger, just to put on top. It's larger because I didn't cut it down. This way, when you do this technique, you'll get 2 pieces that you'll be able to use, kind of like for the price of 1. So we're going to take this and we're going to set it in here on my desk, and we're going to put a piece of computer paper down, and then this, again, it's the glossy cardstock that is cut down to size, my wax paper, and then my other piece of glossy cardstock. I'm going to put that down and then put my computer paper on top. We don't want to ruin the iron. The iron has been set to the highest heat it can be, and it's a dry iron, so don't use steam with it. We're just going to bring the iron in and go over this, and it happens very quickly. This will melt. Alright, and if you're not sure if it has worked or not, here's what you can do. You can lift this piece up, and you may not be able to see it on the video, but I'll be able to see it. And you'll pull this back, and you'll be able to see, maybe you can see it, that there is an impression now on your glossy cardstock. Okay, it's on both of them. So you're going to have Another piece that you can use however you want as well. So 2 for the price of 1. You also have this piece now of wax paper. It still has the impression on it, and you can put it on a card front like this with colored paper underneath. You can color this because now it's just paper. There's no more wax on it. So you could color it with markers, you could color it with alcohol markers, colored pencils, and I wouldn't try because this is kind of thin, but you can color it. So the next thing we're going to do here is the resist technique. Now again, we have the wax paper on here, so we're going to take our ink, and I'm going to use Peach Pie. One thing you can do is to drag your ink pad across this to get it as dark as you want. Now, if you go flat, you can see it will grab, and that's okay because you do want to get as much ink on here as possible. I found too that instead of touching this with my fingers, if I used something else that I could put my hand on, it helps. Okay, now I'm just pushing down with my ink pad and pulling up. You could also take your ink pad and use your brushes, a blending brush. We had ladies in class that were using the blending brush if they had lines that happened in their card from the inking process. All right, so now you can see we have a beautiful impression of that embossing folder on our card. I want to take it another step, and I want to add stamping to the front. Now this is glossy cardstock, and you want to use Ink-Stazon ink with this. It doesn't matter which way you do your paper, but you're going to need Ink-Stazon ink because regular ink will not dry on this. The only reason I'm using a stamping platform is because I don't want this to slip or to slide. And also, sometimes when you use Ink-Stazon, it does not give you a really good impression the very first time, especially on glossy cardstock. Okay, that looks pretty nice. So I'm going to leave that. But again, I did this because it will slide on here if you're not careful. So I'm going to take this off. You want to let this dry. This is going to take a few minutes to dry, so we want to put it up out of the way. So I had my classes just kind of turn it and move it so it was out of the way. I'm going to use my regular Memento black ink for some more stamping. And what I want to do is take my other stamp from the Prairie set, and I want to add something to my envelope and to the inside of my card. So let me get my white card base. There we go. All right, let's scoot this out of here. We're done with that. Now we have our card base and we have our envelope. We're ready to kind of put this together. We want to take our sentiment piece And on the front, I have forever loved, forever remembered. And then on the inside, I have hoping the loss you feel right now will be eased by wonderful memories. So I'm going to put that here in the inside. Okay, let's close this up. What I did with this black piece is I cut it long ways like this so that I could extend this. I put adhesive on the ends here, the edges, and then just put this sticking out from each side. That's a nice easy way to give you another layer. And I also used dimensionals on this. So we're going to put this together now. One way to make sure this is dry, I just turn it over and push down on my paper. And if I don't see black ink, then I know that it's dry enough to use. You want to be careful with that because if you smear it, then you've got to start all over again. So I'm going to add adhesive to the black piece of paper. And when you're lining up a full sheet like this, sometimes it's difficult. What I like to do is to hold my card base this way, and the same with this piece. You can see how it's leaning back. I've got them both on the table and lined up, and then I push it together. It's a nice easy way to help you get that on there. Next thing I want to do is add my adhesive to the back of my glossy cardstock. Hold it with two opposite corners. I've also heard that photo paper will work for this technique. I can't say for sure, but I don't know why it wouldn't work. So I would give it a try if you have photo paper at home. Okay, and then we're going to put this on, and you can put it wherever you like. I put it up here and I kind of slanted it, but you can do however you want. I also added a bow, which it must have fallen off of the sample that I had. I added a bow, so I'm going to add a glue dot to my ribbon and add this to my card. And then add some black embellishments. Oftentimes I like to add embellishments to this sentiment area to bring them more into focus, so the eye goes right to them, and then put that at the bottom to give you something in threes. So there you have it. There's our wax paper embossed card. It's a cool technique. I hope you use it. Hope you like it. Can't wait to see what you use it for. Use it on your own embossing folders, whatever embossing folders you have. It doesn't have to just be this one. So I hope you like it, and I hope you give it a try. Thanks for watching.